ministers. So, as like in union government, in every state, here we are having a chief minister for state as a real head of the government, and also as a uh, as a moderator or central government representative, which will be uh, as a governor for the state. He is the head of the state, as like president of India or president of the our nation. So in every state, like in 29 states, and also we are having in three union territories like Delhi, Pondicherry, and also Goa, we are having state governments there. So in these states we are having a uh, framework made by the Constitution of India for the administration purpose. We are having a state government. So the Constitution of India here provides about the state administration system. According to the article 153 in our constitution, explains about the governor in a for a state administration purpose. The state executive or state legislature acts with the name of the governor of the state only. So according to the article 53 states that there shall be a governor for each state, so that every state is having a governor. So the activities of the state government and laws which are made by the legislature and implemented by the executive, all are the that laws are acts will be uh, implemented in the name of the governor of the state only. So here, according to the constitution, the governor is the constitutional head of the state, and also he is acts with the advice of the council of ministers, which is headed by the chief minister of the state. So as like president of India, the governor role also very important for the state administration. So in that case, the governor will be the moderator between the or representative for the union government, and also he is the representative of the president of India for the peaceful administration in the state. So here the governor is acts like a head of the state and also the first citizen of the state. In introduction part, we have to discuss about this term as a the first citizen of the state goes to the governor. For the nation, the president of India is the first citizen of the nation or first citizen of the India. Here we are, if you see, the appointment of the governor also made by the president of India. So the head of the executive of each state is the governor. As we discussed, the state legislature or state executive will act with the name of the governor only. So he or she, means governor, will be appointed by the president of India on the advice of the Union Council of Ministers. So if you see, in every state where there are ruling party, which means in central level, those who are having majority and made government, that party members will be the governors for the majority of the states. In every time we will see that case. So uh, so the governor will be appointed by the president of India on the advice of the Union Council of Ministers, which is headed by the Prime Minister of India. So in that case, the governor will be appointed according to the constitution only, but in the name of in the advice of the Council of Ministers. So here, if you see the qualifications of the governor, the person to be appointed as a governor of the state must be a citizen of India. and also must have completed 35 years of age. As like President of India, governor also must be completed at least 35 years of age. So as provided by in the Constitution under Article 155 and 156 of the Constitution of India, governors of the state appointed by the President of India, and also that governors are answerable to him in case of any emergency or in case of any normal conditions in the state. He is answerable to the President of India. He will send reports to him about the state administration and the state government's actions. So he holds their office during the pleasure of the President of India. So the governor is an appointee of central government in the state, and in so far as he acts and his discretion, he shall be answerable to the union government. So most of the cases, the union government will appoint his party senior members or his colleagues, like that. The governors will be appointed by the ruling party related persons. So except in matters in which the governor is required by under the constitution to exercise his functions and in his discretion. So the governor is the constitutional and also formal head of the state, like president, who is the head of the state and also is the head of the um, constitution. So here the governor also for the state, he is the head of the state. So this is so because the governor, according to our constitution, generally the parliamentary or cabinet system of the government of a British model, both at the union and the states. So we adopted federal structure, we adopted federal form of government system from the Canadian constitution, and also we are implementing parliamentary form of government which is borrowed from the British constitutions, as like the governor system is applying to our Indian state. So according to the article 164 subclass 1 of the our constitution of India, empowers the constitution the governor to appoint the chief minister. However, like the discretion of the president, the appointment of the prime minister, here the governor also has same authority over this selection of the chief minister. So the governor's discretion in the appointment of chief minister is conditioned by an essential form of parliamentary form of government, that the council of ministers shall be collectively responsible for the state legislative assembly. So as like parliament, their prime minister and council of ministers, as like here chief minister and his council of ministers will be acts like same according to the constitution of India. This means that the leader of the party, which means after general elections, who got the majority seats in the assembly, he will be called for the form a government by the governor of the state. So the leader of the party which commands the majority in the legislative assembly is eligible to or eligible for appointment of chief minister, and the governor is bound to request him to form the government. So if there is no party commanding a clear majority in the legislative assembly, the governor may exercise his discretion in the appointment of chief minister according to his personal assessment of the situation at that time. So article 72 of the constitution of India could be reconciled with the article 161 by limiting the power of the governor to grant pardon to cases not covered by Article 72. So this is a different thing. So according to our syllabus, the governor of the state is neither an employee of the union government nor the agent of the party in the power, not required to act under the dictates of a political party. So his office is not subordinate or subservient to the government of India. So after the appointment of the governor, if he or she belongs to any political party, he should not act like a party representative. He is the representative to the state, and he is the responsible for the constitution, and also he is answerable to the president of India. So that's what any party member or any person who is appointed as a governor should not communicate with party affairs or should not participate with party, those who which belongs to his party before the appointment of his position. So he is constitutionally the head of the state, and also he is the in the name of his seal, in the name of his seal, he has the executive power of the state. So the fact of the governor holds office during the pleasure of the president does not make the government of India an employer as a governor. So if we discuss about the powers and functions of the governor, the governor in a state possesses executive, legislative, financial, and judicial power, more or less analogous to the president of India. And also, he has no diplomatic, military, or emergency powers like the president, remaining executive, legislative, financial, judicial powers as like same president powers. So the powers and functions of the president of India, as we mentioned in our textbook, so his tenure will be 5 years, but he will be in office on the pleasure of the president of India and his council of ministers. So the governor is not responsible to any court for the exercise and performance of his powers and functions. No criminal proceedings can be instituted against the governor during the tenure of his office. So no civil proceedings can be implemented on him. So if we discuss about the executive powers of the governor of the state, according to the Article 154 of the Constitution, states that all the executive powers of the state shall be vested in governor, and executive actions in the state shall be taken in his name. So he appoints the chief minister, as we discussed, after elections, after general elections. Those who are getting majority in assembly, he will be called for to form government in the state. So according to his executive powers, all executive actions of the government of that particular state are formally taken in his name. So if we see any government orders, any GOs, you see in the name of governor of that particular state. So he can make rules specifying the manner in which the orders and the instructions made and executed in his name shall be authenticated. According to the Constitution of India, all the executive actions will be in the name of the governor of the state. So he can make rules for more convenient transaction of the business of a state government, and for the allocation among the ministers of the said business, means portfolios. According to the Constitution of India, the governor appointed a chief minister, On his advice, he will appoint ministers, and he can change on the advice of the chief minister from a minister to minister with portfolios. So he appoints the chief minister and other ministers, and also they hold office during his pleasure. So there should be uh, majority will be there in the assembly. So he appoints the advocate general of the state and determines his remuneration. The advocate general holds office during the pleasure of the government. The advocate general means like attorney general in the union government. Here, for every state, there will be a advocate general. He is the constitutional advisor to the state government, like attorney general as like constitutional advisor to the union government. In every state there will be a advocate general. He is the constitutional advisor for the state government. He and also the governor appoints the state election commissioner and determines his conditions of service and also tenure of his office. However, the state election commissioner can be removed only in like manner on the like grounds of a judge of a high court. He appoints the chairman and members of the state human rights commission or election commissioner and also state public service commission. However, they can be removed only by the president, not by the governor. And also, he can seek any information relating to the administration of the state affairs and the proposals for legislation from the chief minister. He can require the chief minister to submit the for the consideration of council of ministers any matter on which a decision has been taken by a minister but which has not been considered by the council of ministers. And also he can recommend the imposition of state emergency or constitutional emergency, which we have mentioned in the Constitution of India under Article 356. In a state to the there is a impossibility of form a government or there is lack of government. At that time he can recommend the imposition of constitutional emergency in a state to the president. So during the this period of president's rule or constitutional emergency in state, the governor enjoys extensive powers and also he is the agent to the president. So at that time during the state emergency or president's rule, the entire administrations will be in the hands of the union government. Every government order or any executive actions will be delivered by the union government. He acts also as a chancellor to the universities in the state, and also he also appoints the vice chancellors of universities in the particular state. So this is the executive powers of the state government. And also he is having financial powers. For every governor, the financial governor's powers will be like he sees that the annual financial statement, which we will call it as a state budget, he is laid before the state legislature, he approves it. Before entering into the state assembly, he will accept that bills. So the money bills can be introduced in the state legislature only with his prior recommendation, which means pre-approved budget by the governor. So no demand for a grant can be made except on his recommendations. So he can make advances out of the contingency fund of the state to meet any unforeseen expenditure. Means contingency fund means out of the budget there will be a grant for the state necessaries. So that in that case, if there is unforeseen expenditure means there is no funds in the state government. They can utilize funds from the this contingency fund of the state. In this sense, the union government also having this contingency fund of the nation, which in the hands of the president of India. So as like the governor will be having this grant. So he constitutes a finance commission after every 5 years to review the financial position of the panchayat and municipalities, which we will call it as local bodies or local self governments. So this is the financial powers. So is having legislative powers too. As like president of India, the governor will act as a legislative powers according to the constitution of India. The governor can summon, prorogue, defer or dissolve the state legislature. So assembly. So he decisions often taken in council with the chief minister and the council of ministers. And also the governor has the power to nominate 1/6 of the state legislative council as a MLCs. On governor quota, there will be 1/6 of the state legislative council. So the governor can nominate a member from the Anglo-Indian community to the legislative assembly of the state if he feels the community is under represented in Vidhana Sabha or legislative assembly. So as per article 200, the constitution confers the governor with the power to assent, withhold assent, return to the reconsideration or reserve for president's consideration any bill except money bill, but should be Vidhana Sabha or legislative assembly send back a returned bill to the governor the second time, then he has to sign it. He cannot resend again after the second consideration. So, according to the Article 213, the Constitution of India confers the governor has the power to promulgate an ordinance when the legislative assembly of the particular state is not in the session. In that case, notwithstanding with the immediate effect of the law, it must be presented in the next session in the state legislature. So unless approved, remains active for the 6-week period, means 1.5 months. So the governor lays reports from the State Finance Commission and also State Public Service Commission and also Comptroller and Auditor General relating to the account of the state in the legislative assembly. So the governor inaugurates the state legislature, outlining new administrative policies of ruling government at the first session of every year. So this is the legislative powers of the state government. So, and also he has the judicial powers according to the article 161. The governor can grant pardons, reprieves, respites, or remission of punishments, or suspensions, remittances, or commutes of sentences of those convicted of an offense to which the executive power of state extends this judicial power to the governor. So the governor is consulted by the president as well as the chief justice of India in the appointment of chief justice of that particular state's high court and judges of the high court and district courts and their postings and promotions. So this is the judicial powers of the governor. So he has some discretionary powers. The governor may recommend an imposition of president's rule, as we discussed in the legislative powers. During the president's rule, on the behalf of the president, he is act as the head of the government at a time, head of the state. So in that cases, an imposition of the president's rule on the president's behalf, and in such circumstances override the council of ministers and directly handle the workings of the state. So the governor may exercise his function as the administrator of adjoining union territory. So as like governors for union territories, there will be lieutenant governors. As like governors, they has the same powers with the this governor system. And also the governor holds the power to select the chief minister should no political party win a majority in the assembly of the state or in the chief minister's demise without any obvious successor. So in that case, he has discretionary power to appoint a person as a chief minister. So this is the miscellaneous or discretionary powers of the governor of a state. So in many cases, many reforms and many committees advised the union government, and the made recommendations to change or to implement their ideas or advices in the implementation of this governor's system. So according to the Administrative Reforms Commission in 1968 recommended that the governor regarding the president rule has to be objective, and also the governor should exercise his own judgment in this regard. So, and also the Sarkaria Commission in 1988 recommended these Article 356, which we are calling as a president's rule, should be used in very rare cases when it becomes unavoidable to restore the breakdown of the constitutional machinery in the state. So many state governments, many persons, many chief ministers misusing this Article 356 before their tenure of the government, before the 5 years term of their government, they are resigning their positions, or they are dissolving that assembly. They are going for the pre-elections. So the Sarkaria Commission stated regarding this only. The commission recommended that before taking action under the Article 356, a warning should be issued to the state government, and that it is not functioning according to the constitution. So many commissions like the Poonchi Commission, Chellaya Commission recommended about these Article 355 and 356. So this is the powers and functions of the governor of a state. So the governor is the head of the state. So originally, according to the Constitution of India, this position of a governor has been adopted from the previous acts made by the British government. So he has the powers like 3 types of powers. One is a discretionary, and yes.
Page number.
First listen to me, then after you see in the textbook. So we have syllabus from the 143 to 152. So governor has these 3 powers. So we have one more important topic, that is the chief minister and Council of Ministers. So, according to the Article 164 of the Constitution of India, the Chief Minister is appointed by the Governor. Article 164 says that the Constitution provides that there shall be a Council of Ministers with the Chief Minister on its hand to aid and the advise the governor. So the governor has appointed the leader of the majority party in the state legislative assembly after the general elections as the chief minister, not according to his wishes. So the chief minister regarded as the real head of the government, as like prime minister where acts as a real head of the government at center level. Every state the chief minister regarded as the real head of the government. So the chief ministers here is acts as a de facto executive, while the governor is the de jure executive. Means, as we discussed, the governor, on the name of the governor only, the chief minister and council of ministers acts their powers. So once the election to the legislative assembly is over, the task of forming the government begins. So the party with majority after the general elections, those party got majority in the legislative assembly is entitled to form a government. So it is upon his recommendation that ministers are appointed. After appointment of chief minister on the advice of the chief minister, the governor appoints other ministers, other cabinet ministers. So the chief minister may be a member of any house. In case of bicameral system is there in the state, he should be a member in any house, either either assembly or legislative council. So in case the governor may be use his personal discretion in the selection of appointment of chief minister of the state. When in case when no party got perfect majority or clear majority in the state legislative assembly, the governor may use his discretionary power to select chief minister of the state. So here the chief minister holds a important position and important position in the working of the state government. He has enormous powers and vast responsibilities. As like Prime Minister of India, for every state, the Chief Minister has having an important role in the administration system. So the Chief Minister is acts like Prime Minister only. So the Chief Minister holds a pro-vital position, means he is working with the state government and also he is moderator between the council of minister to governor of the state. He is the leader of the house. He is the leader of the legislative assembly. So the chief minister is link between this cabinet and the governor. So it is who communicates the decisions, all the decisions made by the council of ministers. He will inform to the, he will communicate to the governor of the state, and also he has to furnish such information relating to the administration of the state state to the governor may call for these cases. So the governor can submit to the consideration of the council of ministers any matter on which decision has taken by a minister but which has not been considered by the council of ministers. Here the council of ministers acts according to the article 75 subclass 3. They are responsible for the collective decisions. If a minister take a decisions, all the ministers should be stand for his decisions. So that we will call it as collective responsibility. So the council of ministers are maintain this principle according to the Constitution of India. So here the chief minister is the head of the council of ministers. He is the leader of the cabinet and he is the leader of his ministry, entire ministry. So as head of the state cabinet, the chief minister enjoys the powers like formation of the ministry. After the appointment of chief minister, he will decide to give uh, portfolios to his party members who are elected as MLAs. So the chief minister has a free hand in preparing the list of his colleagues as a ministers. So the governor may suggest the name of the persons to be included in the ministry. So the chief minister can allocate or reshuffles portfolios among ministers. He can change portfolios to from one minister to another minister. So he can allocate or reshuffles or he can change the entire portfolio from a minister. So here the activities of all the ministers are coordinated and controlled by the chief minister only. So the meeting of the council of ministers are presided by the chief minister only. So he influences the decision of the council of ministers. And also if the chief minister resigns the government, then entire government collapses that stage. So he can ask the governor to dismiss any minister and he can ask a minister to resign. So he is the channel to communicate between the council of minister to the governor of the state. So after the cabinet meetings, he has to inform the governor about their decisions. So the government policies are announced by him in the floor of the house. So he advises the governor. The chief minister advises the governor to summon the sessions of the state legislatures. And also he is ex officio chairman of the state planning board. As like prime minister, he is the ex officio chairman of planning commission, which we are calling as a Niti Ayog now. So in every state there will be a state planning board. Every chief minister acts like a ex officio chairman of that state planning board. So and also he is the member of interstate council and also member of national development council, both headed by the prime minister of India. So and also he is the vice chairman of the concerned zonal council by rotation. Zonal councils will be there in the region. So and also the position of the chief minister is preeminent in the state government system. In practice, this position will be imposing only when his party commands a clear majority in the state legislature. In some cases, there will be coalition government, which means there is no clear majority for a single party. Two or more parties will collaborate and they may form government in the state. So that we will call it as a coalition government. So when it is a coalition government, it becomes difficult to safeguard the principle of collective responsible also. Collective responsibility principle is there now. In this situation, when there is a coalition government, there may be chances or difficulty to take collective decisions. One party supports and another party opposes the decisions. So there is a possibility is less to take collective decisions. So most of the time and much of the time and energy of the chief minister will in this case will be wasted or keeping his team united and sufficiently disciplined. So the chief minister is the chief spokesperson to the state government. With the help of the media, the chief minister communicate all policies and decisions to the people of the state. And also, he holds regular or periodic press conferences where he makes the citizens of the state aware of the functioning of the government. So the chief minister, in case of in relationship with the governor, the chief minister enjoys many powers regarding to the relationship with the governor. So he is the as we discussed, he is the principal channel to the council of minister to governor of the state. So it is the primary duty of the chief minister. So he has right to inform decisions taken by his council of ministers or his cabinet. He has to inform to the governor of the state. So in the if the governor so requires to submit for the consideration of the council of ministers any matter which decision has been taken by the council of ministers, the chief minister has to inform to the governor about their decisions. And also the chief minister advises the governor with regard to the appointment of important officials like advocate general or chairman and members of the state public service commission and also state election commissioner, etc. So in case of in relationship between the legislature, the chief minister advises the governor with regard to the summoning, which means the governor starts the legislative assembly sessions and he concludes the sessions. He can prorogue. So he can recommend the dissolution of the state legislative assembly to the governor at any time. He announces the government policies on the floor of the house. And also, in addition to these powers, the chief minister also, as we discussed, he is the main chief spokesperson to the state government. And also, he is the political head of the services in the state. As a leader of the state, he meets various sections of the people and receives memorandum from the people regarding their problems. That's what many chief ministers in Indian history has made many programs like to meet the people directly. Many programs initiating to connect with the people. So according to the Constitution of India, the chief minister's relationship with the governor will be the important in the administration process. So in the appointment of chief minister, the governor roles is also important. The minister shall hold office during the pleasure of the governor only. So there should be communication, good communication with the between the chief minister and the governor of the state. So in case of relationship with the governor, according to the article 163, 164 and 167, the duties of the chief ministers has mentioned in the Constitution of India. So as we discussed, the right to appoint chief minister on his own discretionary powers of the governor only. As we discussed, in many cases, in case of there is lack of majority, the governor has right to appoint any person from any political party as a chief minister. Later on, he has to prove his majority within the 6 months of the period after his appointment. In case of no clear-cut majority in the house, the governor has right to appoint any MLA from the any political party. That's what they are making these discretionary powers to the governor of the state. So If there is a clear majority, he calls that party leader to form government, and he also appoints that party's leader as a chief minister of the state. So according to the article 164, the chief minister shall be appointed by the governor, and other ministers shall be appointed by the governor on the advice of the chief minister. So here the chief minister's role is important in the making uh, or to form the government and implement their collective decisions made by the council of ministers. So here the council of ministers also shall be collectively responsible to the legislative assembly of the state. And also article 167 says that it shall be the duty of the chief minister in case of to communicate the governor of the state about all the decisions taken by the council of ministers relating to the administration of the affairs of the state and proposals for the legislation. So to furnish such information, to require any information from the government policies, the governor can call to the chief minister and can collect information from the chief minister. So if the governor requires to submit for the consideration of the council of ministers any matter, and which, as we discussed, many decisions are taken by the uh, council of ministers, the functions of the council of ministers should be informed by the chief minister to the governor. So the governor is the nominal and nominal head of the state, as like we discussed, as a president of India. For every state, the governor has the same powers as like president of India. So in case the role of chief minister in particular state, he is the original or real head of the state government. He heads the state government and the council of ministers, and he also acts as a legislative leader of the majority party in the house, which we will call it as a assembly. And also he is the entire administrator for the state. So he generally, chief minister generally selects the chief secretary and can also allot departments as per their own wish to the cabinet ministers of their state. So ministers of the state. So according to the constitution, the chief minister of a state holds a position of the power of the state. Entire the power of the state will goes to the hands of the chief minister only. So this is the powers and functions of the chief minister. So if we see the significance of the post of the chief minister, as like prime minister of India, the chief minister's position is paramount in the state government and also state governmental system. In practice, his position will be only imposing if a party has a clear majority in the state legislature. As we discussed, in case of a coalition government, in case of no majority party in the house, it is more difficult to uphold the principle of collective responsibility. As we discussed, one party supports and another party opposes that decisions. So he critically convince with all the party members. In that case, much of the chief minister's time and energy will be there for to what we call to keeping his team united and disciplined. So the chief minister communicates all the positions, and also he has the critical role in the state administration. So As we discussed, in many cases, many state governments are making many policies towards their public. Uh, Sometimes that policies will be criticized by the public. The public will be oppose that policies which implemented by their state government. So, in that cases, the government can reconsider their decisions, as we discussed. In case of union government, the central government has made 3 agriculture bills recently and reviewed them and suspended from the time. So originally, the chief minister plays a vital role in the state administration system, and also he is the real executive of the state administration or state executive authority. So he is the head of the government in the state, and the council of ministers will be assist him in the decisions made by him in the implementation of the public policies, which decisions taken by the chief minister. The council of ministers will be assist the council of ministers. So the chief minister at a time, sometimes he is the head of the government in the state level, and also he is the uh, head of the council of ministers. So in many cases, the chief minister's role has been criticized and misusing the powers as mentioned in the Constitution of India. So, in case of coalition government, the powers will be uh, uh, or decisions will be taken by the chief minister is different from time to time, because there will be miscommunication between the political parties. Those who are in the part of coalition government, the decisions cannot be accepted so simply. So their different party ideologies, different decisions will be proposed by the party leaders. So in case of relationship with the governor, he is the superior over this council of minister, and he is the responsible for the decisions taken by the council of ministers should be informed to the chief minister. So in case of relationship with the state legislature also, he will be the responsible for the maintenance of the sessions of the state legislature or state legislative assembly. He has the right to conclude that sessions, means on the advice of the floor leaders or business advisory committee, the house will be goes in peaceful manner. So this is the composition of the as like council of ministers in the union government, there shall be uh, um, council of ministers will be there in the state, and also they stood on the principle of collective responsibility. So here for state government, uh, when the state legislative assembly passed a no confidence motion against the council of ministers, all the ministers of the council have to resign, including those belonging to the legislative council too. No confidence motion, when it will passes, there is a lack of majority of the government, lack of majority. In such cases, very possibilities are there when opposed by the parties, those who are in the part of coalition government. When there is a clear majority, there is no possible to pass that no confidence motion in the state or in case of parliament too. Of coalition government, they can there is many possibilities to pass that no confidence motion. So at that time, in case of passing that no confidence motion, the entire government will collapse down after the uh, passing of that no confidence motion. Is there any doubts from the today's class? You may ask.
No doubt, sir.
సార్ క్వశ్చన్స్ ఏమన్నా చెప్తారా సార్?
క్వశ్చన్స్ అంటే నేను ప్రీవియస్ పేపర్ అయితే పంపగలుగుతా కానీ ఏది ఇంపార్టెంట్ అని చెప్పలేము కాబట్టి మీకు ప్రీవియస్ పేపర్ పంపించమంటే పంపిస్తా. ఇట్ విల్ యూజ్ఫుల్ ఫర్ యాజ్ ఏ మోడల్ పేపర్, మీకు యూజ్ అవుతుంది.
క్వశ్చన్స్ అంటే పాసిబిలిటీ ఉండదా సార్?
పాసిబిలిటీ అంటే అది అట్లే చెప్తామమ్మా, మేము క్లాసులు చెప్పడం వరకే మా డ్యూటీ.
అంటే క్వశ్చన్స్ అంటే అలా కాదు సార్, అంటే ఎలా ఉంటాయి,
ఎలా ఏముంటుందమ్మా, ఇప్పుడు మనం గవర్నర్ గురించి కానీ చీఫ్ మినిస్టర్ గురించి కానీ మనకు అడిగితే ఏమడుగుతారంటే గవర్నర్ యొక్క అధికారాల విధులను వివరించండి, అట్లా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ ది పవర్స్ అండ్ ఫంక్షన్స్ ఆఫ్ ది గవర్నర్, ఇట్లా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ ది పవర్స్ అండ్ ఫంక్షన్స్ ఆఫ్ ది చీఫ్ మినిస్టర్. మీకు ఆల్రెడీ చాప్టర్ చివరన మోడల్ క్వశ్చన్స్ కూడా ఉంటాయి
సార్. జస్ట్ లైక్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్స్.
ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్స్ అంటే నేను ప్రీవియస్ పేపర్ అయితే మీకు ఫార్వర్డ్ చేయగలుగుతా
సార్. ప్రీవియస్ పేపర్స్ ఈ ఇయర్ కి ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్స్ ఎలా అవుతాయి సార్ మళ్ళా?
అంటే మీకు అట్లీస్ట్ ప్యాటర్న్ ఎట్లుంటది అనేది ఒక ఐడియా వస్తుంది. ఎందుకంటే ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్స్ అంటే నేను చెప్పిన రాకపోతే మళ్ళా అది వేరే ఇష్యూ అయిపోతుంది కదా.
లైక్ ఒక చాప్టర్ నుంచి ఒక 2 క్వశ్చన్స్, ఈ క్వశ్చన్స్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఇన్ దట్ వే.
అట్లా అని కూడా చెప్పలేము, ఎందుకంటే ఆ చాప్టర్ నుంచి ఆ 2 రాకపోతే అది డిఫరెంట్ ఉంటది కదా. ఏం లేదు, మీరు మనకు ఇండియన్ గవర్నమెంట్ అండ్ పాలిటిక్స్ లో మీరు ఇబ్బంది పడాల్సిన అంత టఫ్ టాపిక్స్ ఏమి ఉండవు, ఈజీగానే అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు, ఈజీగానే రాయగలుగుతారు కూడా మీరు.
ఓకే సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ. ఓకే, ఆల్ ద బెస్ట్ ఫర్ యువర్ ఎగ్జామ్స్, అప్కమింగ్ ఎగ్జామ్స్. షెడ్యూల్ అయినట్టున్నాయి కదా ఆల్రెడీ?
ఎస్ సార్.
ఓకే,
17
ఆల్ ద
నుంచి
బెస్ట్.
ఉన్నాయి సార్.
ఓ
ఏప్రిల్ 17 నుంచి.
ఏప్రిల్ 17.
అదే 1 month అనుకోండి. ఓకే, ఆల్ ద బెస్ట్, బాగా రాయండి, రైట్ వెల్ అండ్ గెట్ గుడ్
ఓకే సార్,
మార్క్స్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ.
థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ యువర్ పార్టిసిపేషన్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
Thank you one and all. I'm concluding the session.